Sophia had always been curious about the strange, dilapidated house on the outskirts of Hollow Creek, a town known for its eerie quiet. One rainy evening, she received an old, handwritten invitation that simply read, "Come and see what the creek hides." Intrigued, she packed her bags, hoping to uncover the truth behind the whispers she'd heard growing up. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Sophia drove toward the house, a sense of unease growing within her. The house loomed ahead, its windows dark like empty eyes. It was much older than Sophia had expected, with sagging eaves and ivy creeping up the sides. The front door creaked as it swung open, inviting her into the suffocating darkness within. As she stepped inside, an overwhelming chill filled the air, the smell of damp wood and decay overpowering her senses. As Sophia explored, her footsteps echoed loudly in the silence. Suddenly, a soft whisper floated through the air, though there was no one in sight. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. "Turn back! Turn back!" The voice hissed, too faint to discern if it was real or just her imagination. In the hallway, Sophia stumbled upon a large, ornate mirror. Its surface was cloudy and scratched, but as she gazed into it, she saw something that made her skin crawl. A shadowy figure stood behind her, its features too distorted to make out clearly. When she spun around, the figure was gone, but the air felt heavier. Just as she began to doubt her senses, she heard it. Faint, deliberate footsteps behind her. She turned, her breath catching in her throat, but the hallway was empty. The footsteps continued, growing louder, as though someone or something was following her every move. She quickened her pace, desperate to find an exit. The stairs creaked under her weight as Sophia ascended to the second floor. The house seemed to groan, as though it were alive and aware of her presence. A distant thud echoed from above, causing her to freeze. Something or someone was moving upstairs, though Sophia was certain she was alone. At the top of the stairs, Sophia found a door that led to the attic. It was slightly ajar, as if someone had left it open in haste. The air grew colder the closer she got, and a smell of old paper and mold wafted from behind the door. She hesitated for a moment before pushing it open. The attic was cramped and filled with forgotten relics, old furniture, dusty boxes, and moth-eaten curtains. As Sophia stepped inside, the temperature dropped, and she felt a prickling sensation on the back of her neck. From the corner of her eye, she saw several dark shapes shift in the shadows. But when she turned, nothing was there. In the farthest corner of the attic, Sophia discovered an old leather-bound diary. Its pages were yellowed and fragile, but as she opened it, she saw that the entries were all dated with strange symbols. The last entry was in a hurried, jagged script. "They are coming for me. You must stop them before it's too late." A chill ran down her spine as she closed the book. As Sophia read the diary, she noticed something unsettling on the walls of the attic. Deep, black smudges that seemed to pulse with an unnatural rhythm. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, and her head began to ache. She backed away from the walls, but the shadows seemed to stretch toward her, as if trying to pull her in. Suddenly, Sophia felt a cold hand wrap around her ankle. She screamed and jerked her foot back, but nothing was there. The sensation lingered, as though invisible fingers were still gripping her. She stumbled backward, her pulse racing, but the floor beneath her seemed to give way. The attic door slammed shut with a deafening bang, trapping her inside. She ran to it, desperately pulling at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Behind her, the shadows began to shift and writhe, coalescing into something darker, more tangible. The whispers returned, louder this time. You shouldn't have come. From the swirling darkness emerged a figure, tall and skeletal, its eyes glowing with an unnatural red light. It spoke, but the voice was not one. It was many, overlapping, as if countless souls were trapped inside it. "You will never leave," the entity hissed, its form twisting grotesquely. Sophia backed away, her breath quickening, realizing it was no longer just a house, but a prison. As the creature drew closer, the walls of the attic seemed to close in, distorting as if the house itself were alive. The ground beneath Sophia's feet cracked, revealing a dark pit. She suddenly remembered the diary's warning. Stop them before it's too late. But who was she supposed to stop? What was coming for her? Panicking, Sophia ran toward the attic window and pried it open with trembling hands. She could feel the creature's presence closing in behind her. With one final burst of strength, she jumped from the window, crashing into the bushes below. As she stumbled to her feet and looked back at the house, she saw the figure watching her from the attic, its eyes glowing even brighter. Sophia sprinted through the woods, branches slapping against her face, the sounds of footsteps growing louder behind her. Every time she looked back, the entity seemed closer, its red eyes burning through the darkness. Her legs ached, but she dared not stop. The whispers followed her, relentless. "You can't outrun us." She finally reached Hollow Creek, the dark water reflecting the moonlight like black glass. Her breath came in ragged gasps as she stumbled toward the water's edge. The whispers stopped. Then, a single hollow voice echoed from beneath the surface. "It's too late." Sophia froze as the water began to bubble and churn. The water surged around Sophia's legs, as though it had a mind of its own. Her feet were being pulled into the depths, the current too strong to fight. She screamed, but no sound escaped her lips, her body sinking, helpless. The whispers returned, now coming from the very water she was drowning in. "You belong to us now." Sophia's vision blurred as she sank deeper, the cold wrapping around her like a suffocating embrace. In the darkness, she saw countless figures watching her, their eyes glowing red, trapped in the watery depths. The entity's voice reverberated in her mind. "You were always meant to join us." With a final, gurgling breath, Sophia was pulled beneath the surface. The creek returned to its still, unbroken surface, as though nothing had happened. On the bank, the invitation she had received earlier now lay half submerged, its edges curling and rotting away in the water. No one would ever know what had happened to Sophia, and the whispers of Hollow Creek would wait for the next curious soul. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more new videos.